Hello everybody, I'm Roman Empire Builds or Rebuilds here, back today with another mock video. Today I have two Star Wars themed Kinetic sculptures. If you don't know what those are, they're basically just moving mechanisms that are made for a certain theme. Mine are the Battle of Jakku and the Battle of Crate, two very cool battles in Star Wars, though the Battle of Jakku really wasn't a real battle, it was just kind of a scene. I really hope you guys enjoy, and without further ado, let's jump right in. Alright, so we'll start with the Battle of Jakku. This isn't really a battle, and there were no X-Wings on Jakku, so keep that in mind. This is not real. No X-Wings were on Jakku. I didn't have the parts on hand to make a mini-scale Millennium Falcon to go with the TIE Fighter, but I feel like the X-Wing works in this situation. It's not really that big of a deal that I need to, replace the whole ship. Now, this is a Kinetic sculpture, and I'm sure you guys all want to see what the Kinetic sculpture feature of it is, and here's what it is. Basically, all it is just the TIE fighters an X-Wing will move around in a circle. I'm trying to give you guys a close up. So it's a pretty smooth motion. There's not really there's no things that will get caught. It's very smooth. Though the motion is a little bit strange in terms of how it moves. As you can see, the X-Wing and TIE fighter will both fall to that side because there's not a small enough gap so that it will just stay in this continuous smooth motion. That's pretty much the only part that's not super smooth. It will fall down a little bit like that. And then if we go to this side, it falls and hits this thing. Though I do have this. Without this, it falls even farther, making it even more of a really bad kind of list to that side, which I didn't really like. Over here, to stop that motion, I have a slanted piece, which does the job. So yeah, it's a mechanism. I'll show you guys the inside of that so you can see how the thing works. But for now, we'll just take a look at the scenery. So I've removed the ships. Very easy to do. Just take them off. They're both attached with one stud on these little Technic bars. I wish these could have been clear, but they don't make these parts in this clear color. So I mean, you do what you can do with Lego with the parts you have on hand. So this scenery here is Jakku. This is the Nema outpost where Rey goes to trade with Unkar Plutt. I have that stall over here with the covering, and that's the window where Unkar Plutt would go out. This is mini scale, by the way. So it's kind of full perspective. So you have the ships up here in big scale, but they're still pretty small. And then down here you have the mini scale area where you would have mini scale people. This is a little bit of a fun thing. This is supposed to be a dewback, even though they aren't really on Jakku. They're on Tatooine, but I thought it'd be a little fun tidbit to add. Over here, there's the iconic, you could say iconic, but really there was no iconic parts from Jakku. But this the gate where she walks through, and over here is a little marketplace. It's pretty easy to take off. You can rearrange all the buildings however you like. This actually isn't supposed to be a building. It does serve as a building, serves as a little hut or a commissary or something. But what it's actually supposed to do is do this. It's actually supposed to be the TIE Fighter's back. But since the TIE Fighter doesn't connect onto here that well, it just goes on here when the TIE Fighter is not in use. Or not outside of the sculpture. So that's fun. Over here, there's a little building, circular kind of tent area. And then over here, I have a little water area where Finn drinks from. So that's pretty much the scenery of the top. And now we'll get to the ships. Here they are, the stars of the show, my mini-scale X-Wing and TIE Fighter. Now, I'm just going to say this first. I love mini-scale building. I absolutely love it. It's amazing to work with such small pieces and try to get a shape. It's really fun. It tests your brain. I love mini-scale building, and there will be mini-scale ships coming soon. But these are just two very simple ones that I made. This one is not my best work. I'm just going to say that. It's not my best work. I do, however, like the TIE Fighter very much. So, as you can see, we have the cockpit windscreen. I was going to just do a normal black thing, but I felt like that wasn't really that good of a windscreen, so I just used a pre-printed one, which is not normally what I do with main scale builds. I try to avoid doing pre-printing stuff and try to make the shape of my own, but I feel like there was just no better way, and this looked a lot better. So I have a red stud behind the windscreen to give it a bit of a red tint, and of course I had this is Special Forces TIE Fighter, so I have the antenna and the little red side bit. It's kind of like the marks of Special Forces. So these are like, they have two seats, they have hyperdrives and shields, so these guys are pretty cool. X-Wing is also pretty great. It's a T-70 X-Wing. I unfortunately could not convey the intake, so I feel like these pieces do that well enough. They have that kind of circular shape to convey those intake. It's a very simple X-Wing. I didn't get the engines or the intake, so it's very bare bones. It can fold up and do the X-Wing, and that's pretty much all I wanted at this scale. I found it's very hard to actually do a really good looking X-Wing at this scale, and with the parts I had on hand, it was just, yeah, not that easy to do. So, I feel like it came out pretty nice, though. I used a green color scheme, since we don't ever see an X-Wing on Jakku. I felt like I didn't have to go with a normal X-Wing color, so I used a gray and green color scheme instead of the regular Resistance blue and gray. Of course, I have the little cockpit windscreen where the pilot would sit. I have a brown astromech droid, and then the experimental booster on the back, where you can put the ship on the stand. So yeah, those are the two ships. I think they're very cool, and I love microscale building a lot. So one of the things I did in this mock was I opened the back up, so you can see all the different mechanisms that happen inside. It's a very, very simple mechanism. It's not that crazy. It's really not hard to build. You can really build it with some pretty simple pieces if you want. I also made a little bit in the front, kind of like a circusy kind of look, so that you can see what's happening in there. So basically, all that happens is this crank turns a bar that goes all the way through, and the bar has gears on here and here that activate these larger gears, which will then turn, and attached to those larger gears are the beams that these ships are on. So they will just go down and upward while moving this way and this way. So I feel like it gives a really nice natural kind of ship look flying to it. So you can really get a closer view of it here. So yeah, very simple build. It's really easy to build, so if you wanted to build this, it's pretty simple. There's really not a lot to it. If you have the parts, it's very easy to understand and see. You can see the beam going around on this gear, if you look. So yeah, very, very simple mechanism. It's really nothing much to it, so I think that's it for this Kinetic sculpture. Let's move on to Crate. Alright, here's the second Kinetic sculpture. It is a Crate. This is the second one I built. I built the Jakku one first, and then I built this one. Now, it's very tall. You can see I can't even get the cold color and shuttle on the shot, but it's probably my favorite one. I like it a lot better. Just the stand, I feel like, came out a lot nicer with the indent. I didn't want to just leave it flat brick, so I did a little bit of an indent with those pieces. And I left this part open, so you can see kind of a little bit what's happening on the inside, and then I left the bottom and this side open as well, so you can really get a good view. The one thing about this mock that I don't really like is the fact that from this side, it is not very good looking, which is why you're meant to present it like this, and turn the crank from this side. You're not supposed to kind of display it like this, and so that's why I keep it facing against a wall in my room. So pretty good looking from this side, though. I feel like it makes up kind of for that lack. There's a little bit of a gap right there, so because I used another one of these pieces to get the curve, but I feel like it looks fine. So this mechanism is a little bit more complicated, but I'll get to that in a little bit. First, let's take a look at the scenery. I gotta say, I like the design of all three of these guys. They're very, very cool ships. I like them all in universe, and they're just really cool. So without further ado, here is the ski speeder that runs towards the line of the ATM-6s, and very, very heroic scene, very iconic. Probably one of the best scenes in, like, that movie. if not the bomber scene. That's the best scene. But as you can see here, I have the cloud of dust coming up, the salt coming up from the ski, like that. So that's cool. It moves with the ski speeder as the thing moves on the stand, so that's pretty cool. Over here, I have the gun, just conveyed with a little fire hose piece. And then the cockpit is a trans gray piece, and then it just attaches right here, and the ski goes right there, and it just goes like this. Very cool. The Kylo Ren shuttle, I love this ship. It's actually called an Upsilon class shuttle. Very cool. The one thing I didn't get to do in time for this video was recolor this part. This part is actually dark blue. I wanted it black. You can't really tell because it flies like this, but I kind of wanted to have that in black, so I'll have that soon in black. If I ever show you in another video, this is what it's going to look like, but right now I just have it in blue. I have a little antenna here, a little bit of detail, and I tried to get it a little bit smooth on the top. Over here to create the kind of like upside down U effect, I did studs instead of just another one of these red things, and kind of made it look like it's kind of like the gap in the middle. The wings are able to fold in and out, and they have a very wide range of motion, though I don't recommend doing this for, because that's not how it looks. I like to keep it at here when it's flying, and it definitely gives off the look of the Epsilon class shuttle. We have some orange engines, and yeah, it's pretty simple. Over here we have the ATM-6. This is actually not my build. This is a Lego foil pack that I got in Spain. Very cool. I don't have much to say about it. It's very simple. Little head. These pieces are pretty cool. I don't have many of these. Then we have the gorilla kind of feet in the center. This thing doesn't move in my mock, so it kind of stays stationary. So yeah, and there's really nothing much to say about it. So without further ado, let's look at the mechanism. So the mechanism of this is on the back, you turn it this way. You cannot turn it the other way because it will get caught and will not go. So basically what it does is the ski speeder will move back and forth along this track. The Kylo Ren shuttle will move up and down on a like piston kind of thing. And the ATM-6 does not move. So it's still a very, very dynamic sort of thing. I have at least 2 ships moving, which is what I want. I had the TIE Fighter and the X-Wing on the Jakku mock, and on this one I have this one and the Kylo Ren shuttle, so that's pretty cool. Let's give you a couple angles of this. I think by far my favorite angle is like looking at it from below like this. I feel like that looks really awesome. Having the ATM-6 and the shuttle looming in the distance, and then the ski speeder kind of going toward it. I think it's pretty cool. Over here, here's what the gears look like turning. This is kind of unnecessary. It just adds a little bit of extra friction to it that it's not super loose. So yeah, very, very simple motion. However, the mechanism is not simple whatsoever. Actually, it's pretty easy to understand if you have done stuff like this before, but for me, well, like as I was experimenting, it took me a while to get this mechanism right. It was pretty annoying, but eventually I did get it right. And fun fact, this feature and this feature are exactly the same mechanism. It's just that this one is turned like on its side, and this one is turned just straight. Let me get you the view from the inside here. Basically how it works is the lever here turns this beam, which then is attached to this beam, which then pushes this bar forward and then pulls it back, making that perpetual motion. I use the exact same thing over here. You can see this bar turns that bar and pushes this up and down. I just connected it using a couple gears on the backside here. So simple if you're an expert on this kind of stuff, but it took me a while to figure out. Honestly, I'm not scared to say that it was a doozy for me. But it turned out really great. I really love how it turned out. You can got the speeder, the walker, got the Kylo Ren shuttle, and I feel like it gives a really nice and complete crate look, and it's a really nice display piece to have. So yeah, that's this one. So those are my Star Wars themed Kinetic sculptures. I really hope you guys enjoyed these. I spent a really long time building them, and feel free to leave comments, thoughts on how you like these in the comment section below. I really need your feedback, and I could really use your support if you would consider subscribing and liking the video. So thank you guys. I'll see you later. Rebuilds out.